Tensions between Canada and the United States are reaching new heights, with Canadian politician Charlie Angus making his stance on Donald Trump's leadership crystal clear. In a fiery speech, Angus didn't hold back, likening Trump's administration to a criminal gang and drawing comparisons to Russian President Vladimir Putin. His message to Canadians was urgent. He warned that the country needed to wake up to the reality of having a government next door that disregards international laws. According to Angus, Canadians cannot afford to take this threat lightly. One of his primary concerns is Trump's offhand suggestion that Canada should become the 51st state of the United States. To Angus, this wasn't just a ludicrous idea, it was outright offensive. He made it clear that Canada is a sovereign nation and no political maneuvering, no matter how bold, should alter that. As Canada prepared to mark 60 years of its iconic red and white flag, Angus urged his fellow citizens to reflect on its significance. To him, the flag represents openness, inclusion, and the unique identity of Canada, values he believes are under attack by figures such as Donald Trump and Elon Musk. He called on Canadians to take pride in their country and to resist any external influence that could undermine its independence. However, Angus isn't alone in his outrage. Across Canada, frustration toward the U.S. government has been building, especially after Trump imposed steep tariffs on Canadian imports. This has sparked a significant movement among Canadians to boycott American goods and travel, a movement that is gaining real traction. Over 62,000 Canadians have pledged to support local businesses instead of spending their money across the border. Prominent figures, including former Prime Minister Kim Campbell, artists, and activists, have lent their support to the cause, calling it a strong way to push back against unjust U.S. policies. The impact of this movement is already being felt in the U.S., particularly in industries such as tourism and alcohol. Canada is not just a close neighbor, it is the largest source of international visitors to the United States. In 2024 alone, approximately 20.4 million Canadians traveled to the U.S., contributing more than $20 billion to the American economy and supporting thousands of jobs. However, that flow of tourism is now under threat. Experts predict that even a minor decline, say, a 10% drop in Canadian visits, could result in 2 million fewer trips, a loss of $2.1 billion in spending, and as many as 14,000 jobs being wiped out. Canadian travel agencies are already reporting a surge in cancellations, with many citizens opting for alternative destinations instead of visiting the U.S. in states such as Florida, California, Nevada, New York, and Texas. Businesses are bracing for a slowdown as fewer Canadian tourists mean less revenue for hotels, restaurants, and retail stores. In a striking development, several Canadian provinces have discreetly removed American-made alcoholic beverages from their shelves. This isn't a blanket ban. It's a targeted move aimed at products from states with Republican governors who have backed Trump's tariffs on Canadian goods. This action is about more than just making a statement. It's designed to strike a financial blow where it hurts. By cutting off sales of American alcohol, Canada is not only reducing immediate revenue for U.S. companies but also ensuring that these brands struggle to regain their foothold in the Canadian market for years to come. Among the hardest hit states are Texas and Kentucky. Texas faced a backlash after its governor, Greg Abbott, publicly supported Trump's tariffs and warned Canada against retaliation. Charlie Angus took this as a challenge and urged Canadians to rethink their travel plans to Texas entirely. Given that Canadians spend roughly $400 million in Texas annually, their absence could create a substantial economic ripple effect. Meanwhile, Kentucky's renowned bourbon industry is feeling the squeeze. Since Kentucky produces 95% of the world's bourbon, losing Canadian customers isn't just a minor setback, it's a serious financial hit. Even Prime Minister Justin Trudeau got involved, encouraging Canadians to swap out their usual bourbon for homegrown Canadian rye whiskey instead. The American distilling industry, represented by the Distilled Spirits Council of the United States, has attempted to intervene, pleading with Canada to reconsider its stance. They argue that bourbon is a uniquely American product that shouldn't be caught in the crossfire of a political trade war. But for now, Canada is holding its ground. Adding fuel to the fire, Donald Trump has been stirring controversy with his comments about Canada. Since December 2024, he has been making bold claims that have left many Canadians incredulous. It all began during a meeting at Mar-a-Lago, where, fresh off his presidential victory, Trump casually floated the idea of Canada becoming America's 51st state. But he didn't stop there. In what sounded more like a real estate pitch than a serious political proposal, he referred to Trudeau as Governor Justin Trudeau of the great state of Canada, and claimed that statehood would be a win-win scenario for both nations. Then, he took the idea even further, proposing that Canada be split into two states, one liberal and one conservative, as a way to fix Canada's political divisions. Throughout December, Trump repeatedly referred to Trudeau as a governor, implying that Canada was already on its way to being part of the US. He even suggested that if Canada joined the Union, taxes would decrease, businesses would flourish, and national security would improve. But then, on Christmas Day, he made an even more outlandish statement, throwing out the name of hockey legend Wayne Gretzky as a potential candidate for Prime Minister. Trump declared that Gretzky would win easily. By early January, the situation had escalated even further. During a press conference, Trump reassured reporters that military action was not on the table when it came to integrating Canada into the US, but he made it clear that economic pressure was fair game. His strategy? Squeeze Canada with trade restrictions until it sees the benefits of merging with the United States. Just when Canadians thought the rhetoric couldn't become more extreme, Fox News host Jesse Waters added his own controversial opinion, stating that Canada should be honored to be absorbed into the US. Canadian leaders wasted no time in shutting down these provocative remarks. When news of Trump's annexation comments spread, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau responded in no uncertain terms, declaring, "Not a snowball's chance in hell." Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre reinforced the message, stating, "Canada will never be the 51st state. We are a proud, independent nation." New Democratic Party leader Jagmeet Singh was even more blunt, telling Trump to cut the crap, and making it clear that no Canadian was interested in such an idea. By the end of January, tensions peaked when Trump announced a massive 25% tariff on all goods coming from Canada and Mexico. His justification? He claimed it was necessary to curb illegal immigration and stop fentanyl from entering the US. However, to Canadians, it was obvious economic coercion. Trump also hinted at additional tariffs on oil, gas, steel, and aluminum, which only intensified the backlash. On February 1st, Trump signed an executive order officially implementing the tariffs. In response, a wave of patriotic pride swept across Canada. Flags were flown proudly in defiance, and sales of Canadian-made goods surged. Trudeau suggested that all of Trump's rhetoric about annexation wasn't just political bluster but part of a deeper strategy, one that had everything to do with Canada's vast natural resources. At the heart of this dispute lies the undeniable fact that Canada is one of the most resource-rich nations in the world. The United States has long depended on Canada for vital commodities such as oil, natural gas, minerals, and lumber. Trump's recent rhetoric has sparked new concerns about just how far the US is willing to go to secure these resources. Canada's economic, cultural, and political ties with the US have been shaped over centuries, marked by moments of cooperation and conflict. Despite Trump's aggressive stance, Canada remains firm in its independence. The country's leadership and citizens alike are making it clear, Canada is not for sale.